on that.
I just thought I'd have them wait and we'll have them speak when you do your
That's
second reading on it.
we have that in there as like for anything that's on the agenda. And
Right.
Other places I've been, they've kind of had all the comments there. And then if there's any questions later when the council is bringing that up, they may call someone back up.
So we can go ahead and do it. We can go ahead and do it then.
Yeah, more all the
That's
comments are
fine.
there.
We can do it then. Okay.
It's not.
6 to 8 twice a week.
Okay.
Your discretion.
Okay, that's fine. Good evening, everyone. It's 5:30, so I'm going to call our meeting to order, and we're going to have a Board of Health meeting tonight again before we have our regular council meeting. So if everybody would stand, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we'll start with our Board of Health meeting, and Chris will go ahead and take roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Here.
Councilmember Rowe,
Here.
Councilmember Galloway,
Here.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Here.
Councilmember Hull,
Here.
Mayor Johnson.
Here.
Approve the minutes for meeting number 4 on June 21st, 2022 as presented. Recommendation, approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set to consider condemnation of the structures on the property located at 309 Marouge in the city of Ottumwa, Wapello County, Iowa.
I'll go ahead and open the condemnation hearing, and Zach, I believe you're going to present.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. The structure at 309 Marouge was placarded October 31st, 2021. It was placarded for inadequate living conditions, lack of utilities, and following a structure fire. The owner of the properties mentioned to the inspector that he's unable to make repairs to the property and no progress has been made so far. The city has had to mow the property over the last year, and there's no current repair plan. The property remains open to the elements and to squatters. The condemnation notice was served by certified mail, by posting on the property, and by publication in the Courier.
Does council have any questions for Zach? If not, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Condemn the structures located at 309 Marouge, order prompt demolition, removal, and leveling of the lot, and direct all costs attendant to such actions, including administrative costs, to be assessed against the property and/or collected from the owner or owners thereof. Recommendation, approve the condemnation of the structures located at 309 Marouge.
Move the recommendation as presented. Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set to consider condemnation of the structures of the property located at 437 North Court, also known as 439 North Court, in the city of Ottumwa, Wapello County, Iowa.
I'll go ahead and open the condemnation hearing, and Zach, I believe you're going to present on this as well.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The structure at 437 North Court was placarded May 8th, 2021. It had also suffered a structure fire and had inadequate living conditions. It says in the packet that the owner was living on the property. It's actually the tenant. Should clarify that. The tenant did continue to live in the house without utilities after the placard, but has since finally moved on. No progress has been made on the house, and it does continue to deteriorate. The city's had to mow the property as well this year, and there is no current repair plan or permission for the property. The condemnation notice was again served, certified mail posting on the property and publication in the Courier.
Does council have any questions for Zach? Does anyone in the audience have any questions or anything they'd like to say? If not, would somebody like to make a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Condemn the structures located at 437 North Court, also known as 439 North Court. Order prompt demolition, removal, and leveling of the lot, and direct all costs attendant to such actions, including administrative cost, to be assessed against the property and/or collected from the owner or owners thereof. Recommendation: approve the condemnation of the structures located at 437 North Court, also known as 439 North Court.
Is there a recommendation to approve the recommendation?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
If there's no other business for the Board of Health, I would go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway, Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Okay, now we'll start our regular city council meeting, and city clerk will go ahead and take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Here.
Councilmember Rowe,
Here.
Councilmember Galloway,
Here.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Here.
Councilmember Hull,
Here.
Mayor Johnson.
Here. Do we have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve tonight's city council agenda?
So moved. Second.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Okay, the next agenda item is the city administrator's reports. I'll turn it over to Phil.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I'm going to actually flip the order of these two items. I know we have a couple people here that want to speak on D1, which will be under the letter E there right after, but that'll flow a little better. So the first thing I want to mention was franchise fees implementation. Thank you, council, for approving setting the public hearing for the next meeting. So on July 19th, there'll be a couple of public hearings regarding franchise fees. These hearings will be to set the revenue purpose statement and then to consider the ordinance itself on gas and electric utilities. So I'm going to touch real briefly on this, and then at that meeting on the 19th, I'll have a bigger presentation for the public and anyone that's in attendance. So Iowa code allows for municipalities to enable what's known as a franchise fee. This is a way for municipalities to get new revenue on things that were related to the general fund. So areas like public safety, police and fire, housing, economic development, public construction, any of those things are things that dollars can be used for out of the franchise fees. The way that the taxing structure goes, the city is maxed out. Unless we grow as a city, we have no more ability to increase the amount of revenue coming in that for many of those purposes. That is the impetus or the reason why we're looking at the franchise fees to begin with. Why are we looking at them now? Well, one of the big reasons is this last year, we were able to lower the tax levy by $1. So the median household income in the city is $73,400, according to our most recent comprehensive plan study. So on $1 per thousand, that would mean that average value house would receive about a $73 decrease in their taxes that next year. On the flip side, looking at the possibility of a 3% utility fee, franchise fee on the utilities, equates to the average household usage about $4.30 per month. That times 12 is about $51. So in other words, you pay about $52 more per year on average. And if you're a taxpayer homeowner, you would see a $73 savings. So there's actually net savings on this at that 3% level. The flip side of that for the city is it's about $1.2 million of new revenue coming into the city to pay for those things that we don't have the ability to pay for now. That is a big reason why we're looking at it and why we're looking at it at this time. Recently, I was in a community event and I had wrote down a list of all the different things that I thought were issues in the city, and I asked the group to lay out the same. Our list matched up almost identical. High taxes, housing, roads and infrastructure, quality of life, poverty, drugs. Those are some of the things that were on both lists. Those are some areas where the franchise fees can help alleviate a lot of those issues. So I'm going to just turn that over for now, and there'll be more to come on the 19th. The other item I had on here was talking about establishing the policy, establishing a process for honorary street names. A couple of meetings ago, the city council approved the naming of 4th Street as an honorary street name for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and it's Dr. MLK Jr. Way. At that time, I talked about the need to create a policy identifying that once that went up and was recognized, there would be other individuals that would probably want to do something similar. Last week, I was contacted by individuals that want to do just that. And so that has kind of moved this up on my list of priorities. And what I'd like to do is have a policy presented before the council at the next meeting on July 19th for consideration. If everything looks good and you want to approve that, we'll keep moving in the process. If we need to tweak anything, we can do that as well. Some of the things that would be identified in this policy are kind of the definition. And what we're talking about with an honorary street name, we're not talking about renaming the street and having to have postal issues or emergency management questions of where streets are. This is adding an additional street sign, as you can see looking out on 4th Street there, different color than the regular street signs, and it's either above or below depending on where it fits. And just having that there to honor an individual or group for some specified period of time. What we'll look to do is have a procedure in place, what the application process looks like, who it needs to go through, if there's any cost associated with that, what the review process is, and if needed, if there's an appeal process. So those are some of the things that would be looked at. I've got some examples from other communities and what they have done, and I will get that forwarded to council so we have some time to talk through that and address any of those issues. And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Mayor.
Okay, this is the time during our council meeting where I'll ask for citizens who want to speak on any agenda items tonight. And we do have 2 individuals that want to briefly speak about the brief specific language in the revised animal ordinance. And then we also have an individual that wants to speak briefly about a petition to rename a street after Sister Irene Munoz. So we'll go ahead and take that one first. And I hope I don't mess up your name too bad. Sandra Trejo Werfs? Trejo Werfs, sorry.
Thank you for this opportunity. This is Imar Hernandez, and I am Sandra Trejo Werfs. We are here representing LULAC, which is the League of United Latin American Citizens, and the community of Ottumwa. We would like to make a proposal to the city council members to add Sister Irene Munoz's name to a street in the city of Ottumwa. The street that we're proposing is Church Street from 300 block to 900 block. Allow us to tell you a little bit more about Sister Irene Munoz's journey, or Madre Irene, as she is known in the Latino community. Madre Irene pursued the path of a nurse, a nun, and an outspoken advocate for human rights. She started her social justice service in Muscatine, advocating for the rights of the farm workers and their families. As a native Iowan of Hispanic descent, she understood the difficulties the migrants faced. She fought to establish basic standards for migrant housing when she saw farmers converting chicken coops or hog sheds to migrant camps. She remembers a farmer once told her, "What's a nun doing here? You're supposed to be in church praying." Madre Irene lobbied at the Iowa legislature to reform of the Iowa child labor law, which until the 1960s excluded the children of migrant workers from its provisions. She fought for the children to be in school during the summer and not working on the fields. Madre Irene empowered migrant farm workers to get involved taught them how to navigate the system, and encouraged them to participate in the most fundamental expression of those rights, the right to vote. Madre Irene quoted, "Of course I was scared, but I didn't want my people to suffer." When she moved to Ottumwa, she continued to help new immigrants. Madre Irene has inspired us to become more involved in our community, reach out to those who are not as privileged as ourselves, and share our talents to those around us to make a positive change in the community. Madre Irene is a founding member of the Midwest Council of La Raza in Muscatine, as well as founding member of Ottumwa's LULAC Council, the largest and oldest Latino civil rights organization in the United States. Madre Irene was a member of the Human Rights Commission in Ottumwa and was recognized by USA Today in 2020 as one of the 10 women of the century from the state of Iowa. Madre Irene is also a recipient of the Barbara Boatwright Lifetime Achievement Award and was mentioned by Katie Solwell in her book, Amazing Iowa Women. Please help us honor this person who has dedicated so much to our community. She has elevated Ottumwa at a state level with pride. Help us celebrate this pride by adding Sister Irene to Church Street. Madre Irene is a nun with a Latino power. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've known Sister Irene for several years when I worked for the Department of Human Services, and I would say she's almost like the Mother Teresa of Ottumwa. She's done a lot of great things for our city. Since this isn't on the agenda tonight, the council really can't take any action. Are you wanting this done in a certain time frame? I guess the reason I'm asking that is because we're going to be doing a policy for this. Does this need to be done right away, or can this wait till after the new policy gets adopted by the council?
For our surprise, Sister Irene is retiring in July 31st. So I don't want to rush anything, but the sooner the better.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And then we have two individuals that would like to briefly speak on the brief specific language, and we're going to try and continue to really try and keep these conversations somewhat brief. So everybody will have at least 3 minutes to come up to the podium, state your name and address, and then go ahead and you can do your brief talk. So first of all, we'll take Kathy Caldwell.
Hi, guys. My name is Kathy Caldwell. I live at 1510 Greenwood Drive here in Ottumwa. I will do my very best to keep this within 3 minutes. I do want to start by saying how enthusiastic the new anti-tethering section of the revised animal ordinance has made many of us that are working for better animal welfare. Animal experts have proven that prolonged tethering raises the probability of dog bites because of the increased aggression that tethering causes in residential dogs, or commonly known as outside dogs. So we really thank you for responding to those concerns. We're very happy to see that. However, I do ask that we consider a different aspect of the animal ordinance. Due to some information that I was given regarding an incident on June 27th, I have reached out to Chief Farrington and Officer Williams. As been my experience with the police department, they listened to my concerns and they answered my questions as best as they could without violating any confidentiality. But the situation has raised a question, or better yet, I should say a request. As we move forward with the new animal ordinance, I believe it is in the best interest of the city to place signage informing visitors of our pit bull ban. We should also have a pinned announcement on the city's Facebook page, as well as a notification on our website. People aren't going to go and look into the animal ordinance to see exactly how the pit bull ban works if they're not aware of the pit bull ban in the first place. This would allow visitors or people considering to move to Ottumwa more information before making their decisions. I also feel that this would go a long way to not leaving a bad taste in people's mouths when they find out. For example, I had a lady who was going to move here from Arizona. She had already bought a house in Ottumwa. She decided to change her mind after she found about the pit bull ban and has lost a great deal of money, but was not willing to give up her dog to move here. I know from speaking with Williams what considerations he keeps in mind when facing a possible citation, and I do appreciate his thought process. However, wouldn't it be in Ottumwa's best interest to have signs at every major entrance to the city that this is a law that we want to be efficient about. And if we want to make sure that we're sticking with it, I think it is in the best interest of everyone to be open and upfront about that as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Next, we have Michael Harville. Harville, excuse me.
You'll have to forgive me, I'm not a public speaker, so I will make this very brief. In regards to the pit bull ordinance, I have a simple question. I've read it. I assume you've read it too. Can you use that ordinance to draw me a picture of a pit bull? Can you use the information in that ordinance to pick one out of a photo lineup? In other words, for all the effort, for all the political sideshow, you have done nothing but waste our time. We all know what a pit bull is. Vicious, mean, aggressive. And any wording in that ordinance that does not reflect that is just another waste of our time. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that wants to speak on any of the agenda items on our agenda tonight before we move forward? Come up and state your name and your address and the item you'd like to speak to.
Hello, my name is Jose Reyes. I live on 19885 Road, Eddyville Road. The agenda I'd like to speak on is of the proposal to Sisters Irene, the naming of a street in honor of Sister Irene. I'm a new resident to Wapello County, and I haven't known Irene for pretty much all of my life. I just met her today. She's a great person, and I've read about her stories online. And you know, it doesn't take somebody who's known her for years to know about the dedication and service that she does for her fellow neighbors and for the betterment of our community. You know, without her religious or her religious affiliation or any sort of affiliation thereof. She's a great person through and through, and I hope the city considers in earnest the request of LULAC and the public to rename the street. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's nobody else that would like to speak, we'll go ahead and continue with our agenda.
Replacement of chopper pump for water. Is there another person?
Hi, I'm Sherry Doan. I live at 4316 Grand in Des Moines. And first, I want to say thank you to my colleagues here who brought forward this petition. And I want to commend the council for their foresight in developing a policy to honor people who've done great things. But mainly, I wanted to say that Sister Irene, I worked for 25 years as Director of Civic Engagement for Central College in Pella. And I worked closely with Sister Irene because our students who were fluent in Spanish volunteered with families. And I just want to say it's not even possible for me to express to you the difference she made for individual students and for Central College in general. And I don't want to take your time or the time of the community members, but I wanted to come tonight just to express my heartfelt admiration to Sister Irene's work, and thank you for considering this.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak on any of the agenda items before we move forward? Don't want to leave anybody out if somebody wants to speak. If not, Chris will go ahead and continue with the agenda.
Replacement of chopper pump for water pollution control facility. Recommendation, approve the replacement of a Vaughn model HE6U 8CS118 horizontal suction chopper pump from Motion Industries in the amount of $11,721 for the water pollution control facility.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Okay, Larry, I believe you're going to take this.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. One of the things we like to do at the treatment plant is keep critical pumps as spares. This pump that we had before is in place. We priced rebuilding one, which come in at $11,225, or a complete replacement $11,721. Due to the difference in price, about $500, we recommend that we just buy a new one to have on hand. There's several of these. The next item is the same, where when they go down, you lose your process, and with lead times and availability, we again keep certain equipment on hand for we can simply take one out and put the other in.
Any questions for Larry? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Replacement of chopper pump for water pollution control facility. Recommendation, approve the replacement of a Vaughn model HE3 L6CS80 horizontal suction chopper pump from Motion Industries in the amount of $9,910 for the water pollution control facility.
Do we have a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Okay, Larry?
This is the same as the last pump. We've installed two new ones. We want to replace them, have one on hand. This one will cost $9,910, a repair kit. If we used it, would be $8,875. Again, it's about $1,000 difference between a new pump and a used pump. With the warranty difference and the run, we recommend a new one. We do budget annually every year $75,000 out of the sewer funds to buy new pumps. At the completion of these two purchases, we would still have $53,369 in that particular pump fund.
Council have any questions for Larry? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing approving the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Friction Seal Project 2022.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. And Larry, I believe you're going to take this one as well.
This project is for the application of a friction seal surface treatment. The process is similar to the chip seal, except it uses an angular granite chip instead of a pea gravel. Unlike the pea gravel, the angular chips won't come loose and get kicked up at high-speed traffic. The chips also improve road friction versus the existing asphalt surface. The process includes first patching and sealing of the existing pavement surface with a single pass application of a binder and granite chips. This protects the existing asphalt surface from oxidation and is expected to extend the life 6 to 9 years on the pavement. This is for the Wapello Street extension. Bids will be received and opened by the City of Ottumwa on July 27th, 2022 at 2 p.m. A bid report and a bid award recommendation will be presented to the City Council on August 2nd, 2022, or a later date is determined by staff. We've estimated the cost at $115,000. It will come from the expanded street repair program. That program was set up to do preventative maintenance.
Does council have any questions for Larry? If not, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Resolution number 177, 2022, approving the plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Friction Seal Project 2022. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 177, 2022.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second. Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing approving the plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Asphalt Street Repair Program 2022.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and I believe, Larry, they're going to take these next three too.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. This is our annual asphalt street repair program. It is the one that we started in 2003 and is used to set a unit price cost. The work will consist of overlays on various streets in the city. As part of this process, the staff will review the sewer condition, storm and storm intake condition. Bids were received and opened by the city of Ottumwa on July 27th of 2022 at 2 p.m. A bid report and bid award recommendation will be presented at the city council on August 2nd, 2022, or at a later date determined by staff. Currently, what we're looking at is scheduling North Court from Gulf Street north to the new HMA, which is between Northview and Elmdale. Each year we throw in, depending on the program, anywhere from 750 to 900,000. We want to also include the Parks Department's cemetery roads. One of the things, and again, that comes out of the expanded street repair program fund. One of the things we want to look at is what kind of prices we're going to receive, and that'll determine if we make a recommendation for award. The other thing that we had included in this would be to do some temporary patching on Lake Road until we can get that redesigned and figure out what we're going to do with that whole stretch. One of the things we found out today was that binder is up to $830 a ton. That's up from $600. We expect to see quite an increase per ton, and we'll have to evaluate at the time we receive the bids. It's hard to speculate. Will oil go down? Should we postpone a type of work that is so petroleum-based intensive? We'll just see what kind of bids come in.
Does council have any questions for Larry?
So I just want to confirm, so if the bids come in and they're astronomical or outside the budget or what's been budgeted, then you'll look to potentially postpone it to another date?
We'll look at, should we postpone North Court? The patching on Lake Road, I think we're going to have to move forward with at least some patching. That's fell apart last fall. We're looking at right now finishing up a contract to replace some culverts prior to the road surface, and then we'd come back and take a look at what we do from a structural. So it might be a partial award depending on the cost. The patching on Lake Road would be less tons. Again, we'll just have to see how that comes in. One of the things the contractors, of course, tell us this time of year that they have enough work for 2 months into next year, this particular one. So we'll have to kind of look at the price, the timing, and then we'll make a recommendation back to council.
How far does Lake Road go out within the city limits before it changes into county?
I think it's about 7,000 feet.
Any other questions for Larry? If not, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Resolution number 178, 2022, approving the plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Asphalt Street Repair Program 2022. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 178, 2022.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing approving the plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Troger parking lot project.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and Larry is going to present on this as well.
This project will consist of constructing 5,180 square yards of 7-inch PCC parking lot in Troger Park. The work would include grading, hauling sub-base, storm sewer improvements. It also includes new sidewalks along Church and crosswalk improvements. Once completed, it will add an additional 136 parking spaces. And for the general public, it would go basically in this area, short of the tennis courts. There's quite a bit of fill work against Church Street and tapering off toward the lagoon. The project is tied directly to the development and construction of the Cobblestone Hotel at the Bridgeview site. The plan set bidding documents are set up to allow 2 bidding scenarios. The first set is a completion date of December 31st, 2022, and the second set with a late start date of April 1st, 2023. This project is funded from the recently passed CIP funds. Bids would be received and opened by the City of Ottumwa on July 27th, 2022 at 2 p.m. The bid report and bid award recommendation will be presented at City Council on August 2nd, 2022, or at a later date is determined by staff. The current estimate is $569,377. Again, we were debating internally on this late in the year, and of course it was tied directly to the development agreement, the bonding cycle, so we got pushed out of our normal letting dates, which we'd like to see in November, December, January if possible. So again, based on what we see between the two differences could determine which one we enter into. Again, if a contractor happens to have a slot open to do that, one or the other, I guess we'll have to weigh it at that time.
And this parking lot would be concrete, not asphalt, correct?
That's correct.
Just for clarification, this is not going to take out the tennis courts, correct? This is going to be on before.
That's correct.
Okay.
The fill material, it stops short. So you're basically looking right in this quadrant here.
Larry, quick question for you. And this might be a little bit premature. The drainage from this parking lot, once it's constructed, will that be draining into that lagoon, or will it drain through the, drain over to the river?
It'll actually go into the lagoon.
Okay. Do you expect any possible environmental impact with that from oil from cars or anything?
Not really. If you consider all of the separation that we've done, all the additional stuff where we picked up 25% of the residential area and we put it in the lagoon, it would be really no different, only on a smaller scale.
Okay.
Any other questions for Larry? If not, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Resolution number 179, 2022, approving the plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Troger parking lot project. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 179, 2022.
Move the recommendation is presented.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing approving the plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Bridgeview Hotel parking lot extension project.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and Larry's going to present on this one as well.
This is, of course, the second parking lot. This project will consist of 4,575 square yards of 7-inch PCC parking lot at the south end of the existing Bridgeview lot. So that's kind of in between the Church Street, the Jefferson Street Bridge, and your access road.
That's gravel right now, correct?
Yes, that's overflow gravel. We will be filling this part of the ditch. There is a storm system that we actually pick up this drainage. We pick up all the drainage from the new concrete and we take it this direction. And that's basically to relieve a pump station on downstream. So we don't want to recombine new construction. That's where it includes the 452 linear feet of 24-inch RCP for the new storm installation. And I already stated it'll remove the stormwater from the existing sewer. Once completed, this project will allow for an additional 117 parking spaces. The plan set bidding documents are set up similar to the last one. We'll have 2 bidding scenarios. The first set is a completion date of December 31st, 2022, and the second set a late start date of April 1st, 2023. Same thing. We want to see if that allows contractors who currently have a full plate to bid for a spring start date. Bids will be received and opened by the City of Ottumwa on August 2nd, 2022 at 2 p.m. A bid report and a bid award or recommendation will be presented to the City Council on August 2nd or at a later date determined by staff. The estimate for this one is $574,256. Again, it's from that recent CIP bond ask.
Council have any questions for Larry?
Larry, too. So if that parking lot is moving over to that pond as well, two-part question. Number one, are we going to have to do anything with Church Street to get the pipe over there? Is there already an existing pipe that's going over there?
No, we'll open cut Church Street.
Okay.
There'll be a short period of time as we go through that we'll have to divert traffic from both sides.
Okay. Follow up to the previous question. You've got not only one parking lot, but two parking lots that are going to be draining into that. Is that going to be an environmental risk to that lagoon?
No more than any of the rest of the city that drains into the lagoon. If the entire or almost the entire south side, either through Kettle Creek or through New Storm Connections, drains into the lagoon. In fact, it acts as a buffer and improves water quality before it's discharged through turbidity and other items.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Larry? If not, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Resolution number 180, 2022, approving the plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Bridgeview Hotel parking lot extension project. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 180, 2022.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second. Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set for our public hearing on proposed ordinance number 3201, 2022, amending the Code of Ordinances, Municipal Code of the City of Ottumwa, Iowa, by changing the zoning classification of property known as 316 North Court from R4 to C3 in the City of Ottumwa, Wapello County, Iowa.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and I think Zach is going to present on this one.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. The applicant purchased the property at 316 North Court in order to demolish a derelict house that was previously on the lot, and they now seek to build a parking lot for the adjacent law firm. The future land use plan designates the property as suitable for neighborhood mixed use, and C3 classification is compatible with that neighborhood mixed use category on the future land use plan, which was adopted in the 2040 comprehensive plan. The rezoning would not make the property incompatible with the character of the surrounding neighborhood. The entire 300 block of North Court is zoned commercial with the exception of this parcel. The rezoning and the broader project has resulted in the removal of the blighted derelict house, and the new off-street parking would reduce on-street parking around the courthouse and other areas in North Court for the businesses that are existing there. The Plan and Zoning Commission did recommend the rezoning on a vote of 8-0. And because staff has received no comments in opposition to the project, because it was unanimously recommended by the commission, and because the applicant would like to see the project begin more quickly, we do recommend waiving the second and third consideration and passing the rezoning tonight.
And if this is approved, the Box Law Firm, they would pay for this parking lot, right? They're not asking for any help from the city, correct?
And the retaining wall that would have to go up as well.
Any questions from council for Zach?
I do. So I just have a question. So this is a private parking lot, correct?
Correct.
So I guess there was just a comment about how it would reduce parking by on-street parking by the courthouse and North Court area. I mean, that's pretty far up. So do you really think it's going to make that big of an impact over by the courthouse, which already sees just?
I mean, it's the same block, I guess, as the supervisor's office in that area. They want to build the parking lot because there are people that go to the firm that park on the street now.
How many spaces, parking spaces was a lot? Do you know?
There's a drawing in the packet.
Right.
I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4,
The-
11.
Basically, what you're saying is anyone that would be parking in there would be moving from the street into that lot.
Correct.
To the law firm.
Right. For the law firm, for the private lot, so they
Right.
wouldn't have to be parking on the street. I think that's what you're saying as far as
Correct.
freeing up street parking.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
And then, of course, there are 2 dwelling units above the law firm, and so that has its own parking need. And so the parking, in their experience, can get tight, and so they did want to create some more parking. And really, the reason to mention the off-street parking issue is because the code does ask us to look at whether a rezoning project is going to create more on-street parking. And that's really just to answer that in this case, it'd be the opposite.
Any other questions for Zach? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Ordinance number 3201, 2022, amending the Code of Ordinances by changing the zoning classification of property known as 316 North Court from R4 to C3 in the city of Ottumwa, Wapello County, Iowa. Recommendation, pass the first consideration of ordinance number 3201, 2022.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Waive the second and third considerations, pass and adopt ordinance number 3201, 2022.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Resolution number 171, 2022, awarding the contract for asbestos abatement and demolition of the condemned property at 505 South Sheridan to Weston McKee of Fairfield, Iowa for the best bid, $1,200 for asbestos abatement and $12,500 for demolition for a total bid of $13,700. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 171, 2022.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second. Okay, Zach, it's all yours.
Thank you. Bids for this project were accepted until 2 p.m. on June 23rd. 2 asbestos bids and 2 demolition bids were received, and Weston McKee submitted the best bid in the amount of $1,200 for the asbestos abatement, $12,500 for the demolition. As the clerk said, for a combined bid of $13,700, and staff recommends awarding him the contract.
Any questions for Zach? If not, is there a motion to approve the recommendation? Oh, yes, we did. Sorry.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Resolution number 172, 2022, awarding the contract for asbestos abatement and demolition of the condemned property at 125 South Davis Street to Dan Larson of Ottumwa, Iowa for the best bid, $12,000 for asbestos abatement and $11,500 for demolition for a total bid $23,500. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 172, 2022.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second. Okay, Zach?
Thank you, Mayor. Bids for this project were also accepted until 2 p.m. on June 23rd, and we also received 2 asbestos bids and 2 demolition bids. Dan Larson had the best bid in the amount of $12,000 for asbestos and $11,500 for the demolition of the property, for a combined bid of $23,500, and staff recommends awarding him the contract.
Any questions for Zach? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Resolution number 181, 2022, approving a sewer service agreement and pre-annexation agreement between the City of Ottumwa and RJ Performance, and authorize the mayor to sign said agreement. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 181, 2022.
Move the recommendation is presented.
Second.
Okay, Larry?
In order for any property outside the city limit to connect to the city-owned sewer system, they are required to enter into a pre-annexation agreement and a sewer connection agreement. Working with our legal counsel, a new sewer connection agreement and pre-annexation agreement, including an application for voluntary annexation, has been updated to correspond with current state legal requirements. These agreements allow for the annexation when the property becomes contiguous to the city limits. Recently, the city was approached by RJ Performance as to the possibility of connecting to an existing private low-pressure system adjacent to their existing business. The low-pressure system then connects to a city gravity system that was extended in 2000 for Bowling Motor Development Area. As part of this sewer connection agreement with Bowling Motors, the city will charge $5,000 connection fee, and then 50% of that fee will be paid to Bowling Motors and RV. RJ Performance is served by Ottumwa Water and Hydro, or Waterworks, and will have sewer charges included in future billing cycles at out-of-city limit rates as outlined in city code. The attached agreements should be attached here.
Council have any questions for Larry?
So did Bowling Motors put in that system then? And
They
that's
did
what
at their expense, and then back in 2000, I'm not sure about all of the discussions that went on, but that was the agreement at the time. Anybody that connects to their system would pay to us, and then we would refund 50% to Bowling Motors to cover part of their expense. The 2,500 is to help us cover 780-foot extension we did at that time.
Okay.
Are they currently on septic?
They're currently on septic. I know they were in the process of adding a wash bay, which can be detrimental to a septic system. The business has sold. I'm sure some of you seen the grand opening a few weeks back. So at that time of transfer inspection, I assume they didn't want to try to figure out what to do with the septic system.
Any other questions for Larry? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Resolution number 183, 2022, approving and authorizing the purchase of certain real property and authorizing execution of a real estate purchase agreement with the Wapello County Historical Society. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 183, 2022.
The recommendation is presented.
Second.
Okay, Phil?
All right, thank you. The depot had previously been identified as one of the central pieces of the riverfront and downtown economic development due to its location and ability to serve as a transportation hub. Earlier this year, the city was contacted by representatives of the Iowa Heartland History Connection to consider a purchase of the property and a continuation of the lease with Amtrak. Staff has negotiated with IHHC regarding the purchase, which also includes acquisition of the neighboring clubhouse. Funds for the purchase of these properties was included in the recent financing. It was approved a meeting or two ago. If there's any specific questions, I can address those. If notice there's people from IHHC that are here as well, and staff has done a review of the property, an inspection of the property, and based on its condition, it is in sound condition. There are some modifications that could be done, some improvements, but for the most part, very sound building and a key piece of what we're looking at as far as continuing to improve the downtown area.
Phil, who will manage this? Like, so if we're looking to, I don't know what we're looking to do with it at this point, but I mean, who's in charge of it?
So, well, the city would maintain that then. Amtrak does have a lease in there, and they're in there on a daily basis, maintain part of the building and the grounds with that lease. Anything else that would need to be done would be done by city staff or contracted out. We'd also look to the possibility of leasing out the upper area or other parts of the building that would be accessible or available to lease, and that could be part of that as well.
Phil, maybe I missed it in the paperwork, and I'm sure there's probably an easy answer. Is there, looking forward, any asbestos remediation that needs to be done on that building since it is quite old?
So I missed the,
Is there any asbestos remediation that needs to be done on the building?
I think we're looking at that right now. So as while we're looking at that answer, one of the things I'll say is Amtrak is looking at doing some improvements to the platform area and the exterior of the building there. One of the things that, along with that, is they were looking to be able to lease the clubhouse, or their contractor to lease the clubhouse for a year or so while they're doing that work. So that would also be something that we would have available as rent coming from that. While we try to figure out the best use for that clubhouse space, there'd be rent coming in right away. Amtrak is very interested in having the city as a quote unquote secure partner. Somebody they know that's going to be stable, somebody they know that's not going to be, that has this similar interest in wanting them there. Someone that's not going to be, raising the rent uncontrollably, things like that. So that was one of the reasons that the city was approached as a viable buyer, because of that relationship and the interest in keeping Amtrak there. And answer, I don't know if we have an answer in your question about asbestos.
Not a complete answer right now, but there's no knowledge of anybody as far as asbestos being in the building. I didn't know that.
Well, while he's doing that, I do have a question. So you said that Amtrak currently has a lease with the property, correct?
Yes.
And when does that lease expire?
I don't remember off the top of my head. It's a number of years out, but they're looking at wanting to extend or renew the lease as well with the city.
Okay. Is it is it multi-years from now?
Yes.
That it expires? Okay. And what is the current lease cover? Does it just cover them being in the building, or does it cover
Their ticket office.
Yeah, they have that ticket office area there. I think they might have a little storage area as well.
the lobby? So it covers
The
the
lobby.
whole lobby?
Yeah.
Okay. And are they required to do like the repairs and stuff on the lobby through that lease? No. Okay.
No, but they do have some interest in doing some improvements to the restrooms, the ADA accessibility, things like that they would work with us on.
Okay.
I'd like to say the shape that our city is in financially and the lack of staff we have in different departments, I don't think this would be a very wise move at this time with not having a game plan and borrowing more money to put us deeper in a hole. So I don't think it's a wise move at this time.
Hey, Doug, can you say that again? I cannot hear over here.
I said with the financial shape that the city's in and the understaffed people we have in different departments, I just don't think the last thing we need to do is take responsibility of something else at this time. I don't think it's a wise move.
Thank you for repeating that.
Yeah, so to address that, if we were looking to borrow additional money, that may be the case. This is dollars that were borrowed already for this particular purpose. With this on the horizon, a couple of years ago, the city had applied for a grant to develop this area. As I mentioned, it was identified as an area for a multi-transportational hub. You have Amtrak coming in there. We'd like to keep Amtrak coming to the city. There's also space where if you have trailways or some other busing system, pedestrian traffic, you've got the city already has Ballingall Park in the front of there. There's talk about adopting or creating an additional park behind that. And that was looking at grants and other opportunities for that to be able to purchase that. The trail system runs right along there. So there's just a lot of things that extending the downtown, continuing with economic development, it is that almost cornerstone of what we're looking at doing. So it is an extension of that, and I think it creates value rather than taking that away. And that was why I was interested in the proposal. I know we had talked to the museum. This was before they had moved out, about the possibility of a purchase, and at that time the price line price tag was more than what we could afford. This is something I think is much more affordable and gets us the ability to apply for that funding going forward and really leveraging those dollars.
I'll just say, to piggyback off of what Phil said, we lost a grant that would completely reimagine what downtown Ottumwa looked like, specifically because of not having control of that building. So if we want to look at any time in the future of making the parking lot something other than an old broken down parking lot, then we really need to have possession of that property.
And I'll also say too, is that part of that grant and that opportunity was more than just that building. There was a lot of private development that was imagined around that as well. The old cigar building, the buildings across the street there, so just a lot of things down that street, down Main Street, really just kind of help enhance that and improve that area, which adds value back to the city.
So a couple things. So I guess I would piggyback on what Doug said too, and that's why I did ask who would be managing it, because we do know, and I think we said that earlier, Phil, that we are short-staffed in other areas. I understand also what Councilperson Rowe is saying too about the opportunity that it leads to. So I guess my concern is if we purchase this, are we going to continue to overwhelm our employees who already are a bit overwhelmed?
So that was one of the things that was talked about, the possibility of looking at our staffing levels and ability to add back some staffing that was lost over the years. Along with this, like I mentioned, the leases come with that, and they'll have to be approved at a subsequent meeting. But I think we're looking at about $1,900 a month coming from Amtrak alone right now, and another $800 potential for the clubhouse. So, that's $2,700 a month that could be used to pay for a staff person to help maintain that at the levels that might be needed.
Plus, there would be extra revenue if you rented portions of the building out to other entities as well.
Correct. So those are the knowns right now, but there's still other space that could be rented out.
But you can also lease more of that building because there's a whole upstairs. So you got potential for more leasing there.
Correct.
It's just a matter of getting it in our possession and then moving in that direction and figuring out what we're going to actually do with it.
And I think that was, sorry. Go
Me
ahead.
and Phil have had the conversation and that was what I vocalized to him is, we're understaffed, but what are we going to do with this once we get it? And that's why I was asking the questions about Amtrak and stuff. So, yeah.
I would just say, I think that, if I understood Councilperson Doug's correctly, is that his concern, and I guess I would echo that concern too, is that, I'm hearing a lot of potential. This is potentially what we could do, but if that doesn't come to fruition, then what happens? And so that's, and then that $2,700 too, we have to maintain a building also. So it's not just for a staff person, it's also for maintenance of a building. Don't get me wrong, I think that this building, having it is the heart of our downtown too, but I think these are also things that we need to have open conversations for the public too. And I think Zach has answers.
We've stalled for you, Zach.
I do appreciate that. So I was hoping to get something absolute as far as asbestos. I couldn't find any record that was indicative either way of that. The building has been remodeled pretty significantly and pretty recently, so I would think that some of that work would have already been done if it was there to be done. But I can't give you a test result answer as far as whether there's asbestos or not.
Council have any other questions for Phil before the vote takes place?
No, so I guess I would just say that, yes, there is a lot that's based on potential here. But there is still enough, I feel, that's grounded in reality to make this a viable opportunity going forward. And I would respectfully request a vote in favor of this.
Any other questions or comments for Phil? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
No.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution number 187, 2022, approving a real estate gift agreement with Wells Fargo Bank for the property located at 422 South Ferry. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 187, 2022.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Zach, I believe you're going to present on this.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. The property at 422 South Ferry was condemned and demolished by the city. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. is the current owner and seeks to donate the property to the city of Ottumwa. The resolution approves a gift agreement that would accept the property at no cost, and the property is suitable for redevelopment to housing under the vacant lot policy. We'd be looking at August 5th as the closing date for the property.
So the property is currently zoned residential?
Correct. It's on Ferry Street, I guess, right around Williams. It's
Between
Down
Williams
past
and Kyoto.
Evans and,
Yeah, yeah.
It's in the middle of a block between Williams and Kyoto.
and that's a nice neighborhood. That'd be another nice lot to be able to put a house on.
Yeah.
Any questions for Zach? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Ordinance number 3198, 2022, repealing and replacing Chapter 7 Animals and Fowl of the Municipal Code of the City of Ottumwa, Iowa. Recommendation passed second consideration of ordinance number 3198, 2022.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Okay, Phil.
So this was presented at the last meeting, and I'll just be brief here. On January 18th, City Council held a public hearing to gather input from the community regarding potential revision of the animal ordinance as requested by a previous petition, calling for the end of breed-specific legislation. Since that meeting, staff and council members have continued to receive input and feedback from the community and the coalition. Although there is dissent regarding breed-specific language in the revised ordinance, there is general consensus the revision improves the environment for animals. First reading passed 4-1 and has been moved to the second reading and is before you now.
Any questions for Phil?
I don't have
No
a
question, but a comment.
Okay.
Kathy, I thank you for coming up and addressing what you did. Not only do we need that when people enter into our cities, but we need a welcome sign. We need things like that to welcome people here as well, as to let them know what's, and let people know what's going on in our city.
I just kind of going to reiterate that, I don't think it needs any changing in the ordinance per se, but I do think that we do need to do a better job of putting that ordinance out there, making sure that the people coming in know about it, and even having our community partners that seek out citizens, making sure that it's in their information when they put that information out there. So.
The other thing is, once the ordinance does get approved, I would agree with what has already been stated tonight. I know the pit bull ban has taken a lot of the attention in this revised ordinance, but the revised ordinance also did include a lot of new good things that needed to be in place that hadn't been in place before. So I really encourage every pet owner in the future to make sure they read the full ordinance, because it does put a lot of responsibility back on people who are pet owners, and they need to understand what those new parts of that ordinance really speak to, because it's very comprehensive. And I think, minus the discussion of the pit bull ban, I think it's a great revised ordinance, and there's a lot of good things in there that wasn't in there before.
And it does take a lot of headache off of our officers that are trying to enforce these laws that, they're saying, well, I don't know about it. Well, if we haven't done our due diligence of making sure that they know about these ordinances and how it works, then that just puts a bigger headache on the officers.
Any other questions, comments for Phil? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
No.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Okay, this is the time during our council meeting that I would ask if there's any people in attendance that want to speak on anything that's not on tonight's agenda. Yes, Kathy? Again, your name and your address,
Sure.
please.
Kathy Caldwell. I live at 1510 Greenwood Drive here in Ottumwa. I just want to say real briefly, I had not planned on coming up and saying this at all. We Care, the animal welfare group that I started, does not endorse aggressive behavior or violence or disrespect of any kind. And I really hope that past behaviors and perhaps some current behaviors that we are witnessing will not be reflected onto We Care, and that we can have an open communication, dialogue, working relationship, however you want to put it, so that we can really do some really positive things for the animal welfare community in Ottumwa. Thank you.
I appreciate you for saying that.
And I would just say that if you haven't yet sat down or talked more with Kathy or other people part of that We Care, I really recommend that you do. They have some really great ideas about just better animal welfare in Ottumwa. Kathy has put a lot of work into that. Melissa Childs has put a lot of work into it. And I really commend everything that they are doing to try to make animals safer in Ottumwa. So if you haven't already, please reach out to them because they have some great ideas and processes in place.
Any other citizens like to speak on anything that's not on our agenda tonight? If not, we have no petitions or other communications.
Wait, I have one other thing.
Pardon?
It's a communication, just a reminder about the
Okay.
Human Rights Commission taking applications.
We have 7 applications as of today. And I'd like to get a few more applications before we decide who the 9 people are going to be that's going to serve on the Human Rights Commission. So anyone that hasn't turned in an application that wants to be considered for the Human Rights Commission, please try and get that done yet this week because we do want to get the commission started. And I just want to make sure that anybody that's wanting to possibly serve on that has an opportunity to apply. So thank you, Councilman Galloway, for bringing that up. Any other announcements or communications that council wants to make to the public? If not, I would go ahead and ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for attending our Board of Health meeting and our City Council meeting tonight. Have a good evening.